Good morning, traders. It is 7:30 in the morning, and it is Monday, the 12th of February. So I hope you all are having a great start of your day. Hope you all are had a great weekend. I've reoriented my desk and I haven't quite settled where I'm putting everything as far as my screens and monitors, so they're just not in a good place. So the camera is a little bit over in that direction right now. So hopefully I'll get this situated. Anyways, glasses are always dirty in the morning. All right. So last week we had a really fantastic week. We had some really good trades that were going on, and we kind of had a nice little, well, not little. We had a nice run of trades. And so as I was getting into Thursday and Friday, I was talking about the dangers of winning too much and having consecutive wins. And it's really dangerous as experienced traders. It's really dangerous as people have been in it for years. It's not just me saying this. I'm not an expert by any means. But there are real inherent dangers for new traders, because new traders, they suffer a lot of losses. They have a lot of defeats. You have a lot of not a lot of fun times. You know, it's exciting, but it's hard to run a positive balance. And so as new traders, when you have a week like we did last week, you really are at your most vulnerable, especially if you've joined the trading room and you have been following the trades a lot. We had a lot of successes last week, and I was going into like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday I was suggesting just take the day off. End the week on a good note. Take your winnings, because when you start to feel like, oh my God, my fortune's changing, or yes, I'm going to be so much better now, look at my success, or nothing can touch me, I'm just going to win all the time. That is a dangerous mindset to have, because you can really destroy your trading account with that kind of attitude. In fact, and maybe I'm just talking about me too much, but I know that I'm at my most vulnerable when I have been in a series of wins. Okay? So let's go over Friday's trades. We didn't have much. We just discussed crypto. We had 3 crypto trades, with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And then we had one in our Forex. We were talking about a gold long and a short idea. We could go long at 13 at a break above 13.13, which we kind of had a funky. We wanted to break below 13.13, which we really did not get a really stupendous breakdown. And then we wanted to go long at 13.19, which really wouldn't have hit until last night. And so our gold trade is just kind of, where I hate it. It doesn't adjust very well like that. So our gold trade, we've been talking about this angle and how it's been, operating as a resistance area as soon as we broke through it. And we did break through. This was right at 7 o'clock Central Time last night. And we got to be, the rule of angles is that when an angle breaks, it will always, not always, but when an angle, oh my God, it's Monday, I can't talk. When price breaks an angle, it will move to test the next one. And so our next angle here is up over here. Now, we did not see any follow through buying on this close here. We traded above, so it looks like we're coming down maybe to either test this, or we can consider this a false break and we'll continue moving to the downside. This line is acting as a support area. if we break down below it again and this angle, we should have another short bias. You know, this is, good Lord, how many of these things do I have drawn here for us? I really need to go back and clean up some of these charts, guys. Okay. So we should look, you know, if this was like a 5-step down and we're in our third wave, you know, are we going to go back up or are we going to want to continue down here? Probably want to consider moving down more again. But we'll come back to this and look at that trade as we get further into our morning here. The euro. Now on the euro, we didn't have a trade on it on Friday, and I'm happy that I didn't suggest a lot of trades on Friday because we kind of had some muted moves, not a whole lot of movement. You know, we had a good reversal in the equity markets as we got into the trading end of the trading day. You know, we'll see if there's a lot of follow through. You know, looking at the futures markets this morning in the U.S. equities, the Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P, they're looking to open up a little bit. I'm looking at Thursday's trades. We wanted to short at a pullback to 23.22 or 23.23. We really didn't get that in Friday. Looking at a breakdown of this low here, and we're looking at this structure that we're in, we should expect, and I have another way to look at this. There we are. I was making these up this morning, but on this style and method of squaring, we are respecting these angles pretty nicely. I mean, we've just passed into a new angle. We're still in this upper corner of this entire square that, you know, expands down there. So we're looking at price to continue to come down here. We should really expect price to come down to this 120 area soon. So on the euro dollar, I'm very bearish on it yet. We should expect some pullback. Where are we going to expect some pullback to? Maybe up here. We should expect to see some pullback. There is like a trend line right. Come on. Yep. Around there about. We could be setting up for an inverse head and shoulders. We'll see though. But for right now, not looking at a long position. If we were going to go long, it'd be a really short, really kind of a short bias to go long here. It'd be like a scalp. Well, not really scalp. We'd want to go long and buy above here. But for now, let's see here. We're at a fib level there. Really going to want to wait to go short till we get a break of 122. 122.05, I think. All right. So that's our euro trade. And we could go short here as well. Yeah, I think that's a safe trade at the moment. Look at the dollar yen. Okay, now the dollar yen has had just this is a mess. Dollar yen has had some big activity. You know, we are looking at this on a longer time frame. If we look at the daily, you know, we are still above the lows of September. All right, we're still above lows. We did test a lower low in our most recent daily time frames. But again, if we look at the weekly, we are really overbought. I mean, we are really overbought and we are slightly divergent. Again, looking at a inverse head and shoulders here. And so I am really bullish, you know, wherever we're at. As long as we don't break below 107.09, I'm bullish. So I think whatever the price is at right now, I mean, I know I'm long a little bit above this, but 108.7. I think we still have more upwards potential here. I know all the pundits are saying the dollar could collapse more, that we could fall down even heavier, but I mean, from a standpoint of where price is at related to our technicals and my Gann analysis, I have a bullish bias on the dollar yen. I like to look at it with different approaches. Staying above this trend line. Kind of a very flat movement on the 15-minute chart. Looking at the hourly, we moved across this cycle, so we really haven't. We're in kind of a wide open area here. We have a lot of movement either way, or the further down or further up. We have a lot of movement. So there's a longer trend line coming across here, but as far as the past price action and how some of this has moved, when I've been looking at it during the intraday, I'm so used to looking over there. When I'm looking at it at the intraday, like we were last week, there was a lot of pressure to push this guy down farther, but it was met with stiff support. So I think we should keep an eye on this. I think there's a lot of retail folks like us trying to push it lower, and that may be the right move, but I just have to trade what's in front of me, and what my style of analysis says is that we have further upside potential here. I see a bias for downside momentum too, but the greater reward versus the risk and the higher probability is for upwards movement. Again, any of those scenarios can change though. Okay. Looking at, let's see, euro pound. Now we had some just wild swings here in this pair. I'm not putting a trade out on this one right now. I want to see how this works out. We are making lower highs. All right, we haven't been able to pierce above here. I mean, just look at all these wicks. There's clear indecision. There's clear participation. There's just a lot of noisiness going on in here. And if we're going to look at this on we could say, let me use this one here. Screw it. Is that a possibility? Sure. Certainly is a possibility. So we could have a short bias on this. Yeah. Gonna wait to play it out. I don't want to participate in it, even though the structure looks... Again, I don't like head and shoulders patterns. I know every time I seem to draw them, though, and I say what I'm about to say, it's probably getting old hearing, but I don't like them because I feel like these kind of patterns are like trying to chase flushes and straights in poker. And I feel like when you draw something like this, you have an automatic bias for it to pan out, and it can kind of block you from seeing other things. But at the same time, markets are natural. They're not random, and patterns do repeat themselves frequently. And so, there is a high expectancy for this kind of pattern to show up and play out. But really, the truth of these kind of patterns is that you don't know if it's a real head and shoulders pattern until it's already opened up. and actually until it's completed. Okay. So just keep that in mind, because this obviously could be a bull flag, bull pennant forming up here, and we could see it not pan out. All right. Other trade, New Zealand dollar. Okay, that's fairly healthy. We see that it was rejected up here, and that we have come back down to this value range. There is a supportive buying area here, so we could have a short around 72.24. Let me make sure. Let me get different eyes on this. Yep, that's supportive. Yep. Yeah, we should probably come down to test that area. I don't know if I got any ones drawn on here. No, I didn't. Okay. All right. So that's break of that area to here. Yeah, that's good. Aussie dollar. It's one of my favorites. So we are sitting. There's quite. Notice these wicks. Look at the volume though. Look at these wicks. These are buying wicks, so there's a lot of buying pressure. Look at, we've got kind of a flat resistance area right here. You know, again, we're looking at when we broke this angle, you know, where's our next area to test it down for an angle? It's down here. So still, the bias is to continue to see a continued move down. But when we look at, where are we at here? Yeah, so there's great supportive area right here with this midline, 78.12. That's going to be the hardest area for us to break below. And right where price is at, if we imagine that there's a division of other equal eighth supports in here, we're kind of at this, behavior-wise, we're at a typical area where price will stop and possibly come back down. If we look at a longer time frame, remember this guy has worked out beautifully for us on a weekly time frame. We had this marvelous capitulation down, followed by another week of strong down movement. This is like 300 plus pips of movement that we've had over the last 2 weeks. We may experience some pullback going into this week, maybe back up to this 45 here. Again, I like to look at, so let's look at it this way. So if I want to look at the highs of, what do we got here? So here's our 50% retracement, would be all the way back up to 79.50. Pretty good area for price to test and want to reverse, or even shoot up above and try to test that fib line is right on 70. It's right on 79.92, so it's right on the 0.8. We could retrace up that direction further there, or I mean, otherwise we still have strong momentum to the downside. But where are we at with this fib in relation to our swing from here? We are slightly above this 50% retracement. That's kind of where price last week traded below, tested that 618 value area. So again, I'm not a huge fan of Fibonacci's because I'm not a huge fan of how they're used and shown to people in these days, because they use them on short time frames. I really, they can be used on short time frames. They can work on any time frame, but they are more accurate, they are more effective, and they are more important on longer time frames. Weekly charts, perfect. I think you can do no wrong by, if you're a fib trader and you incorporate a lot of Elliott and Gann, either or, weekly time frames, those fib levels are going to be really fantastic for you to trade off of. I would encourage you to go, whatever instrument you trade, or just find a random chart and look at a weekly chart and plot the swings from a swing low to swing high to swing low. Plot those fib lines and see how often price responds to those areas and how it respects them. Those are great trading areas. All right. On the weekly now, we do have, we should expect kind of a pullback in the Aussie dollar here maybe. We have good bias for a little bit of some up movement this week. So let's see what happens as we get further on into our trading week with the Aussie dollar. Yeah, see quite a bit of buying support here. So I mean, really, we could actually look at a break and hold above 78.40. We were even talking about this last week, I think, too. I think I may have been talking about this on Thursday. Yeah. Yep, I was. Euro pound, already did that one. New Zealand dollar. Pound dollar. Let's see what this guy's doing. This was a great trader last week, too. Pound dollar. Oh. Okay. So, really easy. I like looking at this from this area. By the way, we're gonna be having some one day a week. We're gonna have these trading sessions, and you'll be getting an email out on that. The Forex Lens guys are gonna be. I'm one of the Forex Lens guys, but it's a good working relationship with these guys. They are really huge proponents of not just providing a quality service, but that I really hate services like this that you're paying for. For the most part, I really despise signal services. I despise this kind of thing that's provided, because when I was a new trader, I bought into these a lot and they just failed me all the time. But the guys at Forex Lens, they are not in it to take advantage of people. They really are focused on providing a quality service and having good education and somebody who's gonna not just be here to take your money. So that was a positive for me. That's why I work and do this with them. For me, I'm going to do this analysis myself anyways, and I do a lot of it on my own before I even talk with you. But it benefits me because I get to kind of talk out loud what I'm analyzing and share it with you folks, and you'll be able to see how. And I'm just one type of trader. I'm sure some of you who are watching this, if you're successful already, I hope there's something that I do that you can use on your own and complement yours if you're brand new to trading. I hope that this information is of use to you, but I know some of what I talk about is really kind of out there and it's hard to understand, but we're going to start doing once a week. We're going to start doing these live education things for about an hour. So I'll be able to go through things a little bit more in detail. And yeah, that should be a lot of fun here coming up. Anyways, back to the pound dollar here. We can get short here on a break and hold of 130. Oh, we do have a 137.97 maybe. Maybe we want to try it a little lower. 137.95. And I always forget to mention that We want to make sure that when we see those breakdowns that our oscillators are not in oversold conditions already when you get a break of these levels, because they can be a false break. If we're looking at like to use Bollinger's. Yeah, so we're in some consolidation, and this is the rate of change. So, yeah, that's a safe shorting area. Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. We haven't looked at that one a lot, but I was taking a peek at it. So this is an oil trade. If you live in the U.S. and our benevolent, all-seeing federal government who knows what's best for us as far as how we can trade, they don't allow us to trade in contracts for difference. So the only way that you can really trade oil is by trading oil on the futures market. Now, I trade futures, but I don't trade oil futures anymore. Nope, not going to touch it. Some people love it. Oh, God. Maybe I have some past trauma from it, but I do not like oil futures. I mean, they're fun. It's just wild. But if you want to expose yourself to an oil trade, then the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar is they call it the loonie. That is the instrument to trade in, because the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar moves to the inverse of what oil trades do. Canada is our largest, is the United States' largest oil trading partner. We get most of our oil. It's weird to say foreign oil. I mean, Canada's like, it'd be like saying my neighbor across the street is foreign, but our neighbor to the north is our largest oil provider, and so when oil goes down, the U.S. Canadian dollar pair goes up. All right, and when oil goes up, this pair goes down. So they're about, I forget what the percentage is. It's like 93 to 98% negatively correlated. Correlated. Potato. So this is kind of the oil trade, and I mean, you'll notice whenever you look at big swings in this pair that, when there's oil numbers, we got a little bit of inverse head and shoulder, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the U.S. Canadian dollars, I want to start focusing on this one more because it is a good trade. Why don't I have a lot of stuff drawn on it? I know I do somewhere. Sure, right here. Oh, good. All right. So, yeah, bullish move here. Man, I know that is not all I've got on this guy. I know I have a lot more. Did I do it on this one? Oh man, I have a lot. I think maybe starting next month or this week, we're going to look at trading based solely off of the Ichimoku system. I think that is a fantastic system to learn how to trade on. It's a very profitable system. It's very effective. I'm weirded out. I know I have a lot of structure built on this pair, but I'm boggled that I don't have it anywhere here. Oops. Well, that's just weird. Well, anyways, maybe this is the one I was looking at. We have some fairly bullish setup going on here. I'm not sure fundamentally what's going on. I mean, if you want to look at a pair, again, I'm a Gann analyst, Gann style trader. Time is the most important factor. Uh, my style of approach is that time rules price. Time is more important than price action. It's more important than fundamentals because time is the true catalyst. I have to follow the theory of the style that I have to practice the style of the theory that I use, and so time rules all this price movement. So saying that though, the loonie, the U.S. dollar Canadian dollar pair, UCAD, it moves on news really fast. It is a I'm not a big news based trader, but if some people are kind of like that where they don't want to day trade like this. They do a lot of research into. So let's say you love oil research. You love researching oil. You love looking at what's going on in other countries and reading their news and seeing. I mean, it's a very geopolitical pair. If you're that kind of trader, then I really think that this is a pair that is for you, because this is a pair that you can relatively effectively, as a retail trader, just by having the access to the internet, you can plot a pretty good forecast of where oil is going to go, and where this pair is going to go based on that. And whenever there's oil inventory, I know we don't have a lot of stuff going on today, but when we get EIA numbers and all that jazz, okay, oil that's going to be on the 13th tomorrow. When you get those oil inventories, I mean, expect movements in this pair. All right, really expect to see some activity. But yeah, we've got a couple trade ideas going on here. So we wanted to go long over here at a break of this. So really, I'm looking at going long again at 126.33. All right, that's where I want to go long. We're above this. We're really kind of right at the beginning of a new square here, and this is very typical and common, is that as we get closer to the middle, we're going to have these wider trading ranges. I mean, we can go back and look and see how price responds to those widening gap areas. I mean, we do get wild swings as we approach the end and the mid of these squares, and so that's how UCAD trades. I don't know if it's called UCAD. I call it UCAD. It just sounds easier to say that than loonie or the US dollar. I mean, you got your cable, your Kiwi, your loonie. It's just all sorts of names. So that's UCAD there. Let's go ahead and take a peek at cryptos quick. What do we got going on? We have some bullish moves on cryptos here finally. We've been, ever since the 6th. I remember, if you remember, we were talking about time cycles. We knew, we were talking about this for a couple of weeks, is that between the 29th and the 5th of 29th of January and the 5th of February, I kept talking about strong buys that prices would, any long-term trending market would reverse based off of the moon cycle and the confluence of all these really big time cycles that were ending and beginning. And so that's, we're right when that happened. It was right at the end of the 5th, and we just started to see some bullish move away here. And so we're trading on this angle and respecting it. And looks like we might want to try to trade above here in this angle. That's pretty steep though, so we can look at this continuing to go this direction. Maybe get some pullback down to here before we start ping-ponging around. But again, not a lot of real trades to do on here yet, because I am purely going to discuss on cryptos consolidation until we get back to the 10,000 area. Then we can have some trading opportunities where we can pyramid into trades where we can get some sell targets and hold off and buy on the dips or buy on a breakout. So again, all cryptocurrency markets are buyers are long only markets because you can't short them. You can short the futures contracts in futures, and you can short limited with margin at some other exchanges. But for the most part, for most of the volume in the trading, you can't short it. I feel like there is some type of, quote, naked shorting that goes on in this market. I'm sure some exchanges who deal with their corporate accounts, their larger accounts, I would imagine they create shortable markets for them. But, it's even if it was shortable, the thing is that most everybody cannot short this. And so this is just a long biased market because it is not technically a shortable market. And really we can expect the cryptocurrency space to increase in market cap significantly. We're at what, coin market cap. What are we at? 426 billion. Yeah, that's good. I mean, we are looking at we're really looking at a increase of almost 50% since the low, because we were at like 280 billion, greater than 40% market cap gain, which is good. I mean, clearly volume has returned to these markets compared to the muted volume areas down here. We've got a lot more participation. So, we've got great continued long bias, and any cryptocurrencies of the majors, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum are just accumulations. Okay. So really not a lot to go on those. Well, we'll talk more about cryptos, but let's look at gold trade quick. Gold. Really likes that line of support. Man. I don't know why this chart always does that. I always have to scroll out to readjust it. Manipulation. We're looking at, we want to break down here. I'm looking to go short there. 1314.29. It's a good shorting area. Yeah. It's good. Cool. Look at our euro trade quick. We want to short at 2205 or at 1337 where we were. Looking at UJ long at 108.7, US dollar, Canadian dollar. We want to go long above there at 126.33. Aussie dollar, we want it to go. We want to. Sorry, I should have said that. Can I edit that message? Do this. Delete. Yeah, we're looking to go long at a break and hold of that area. Euro pound. Really not saying anything on this guy yet. I'm gonna wait, and we have a short opportunity forming on our pound dollar, and if we can get below that zone. So yeah, we've got some trade setups. This day is going to be kind of funky. I mean, we may have a lot of consolidation today before we get a good idea of what's going to happen. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, we already have some kind of consolidative trading ranges forming in a lot of these pairs. We can just see them on the charts. So just be aware of that and be careful of your entries today. Look for volume confirmation. Look at your oscillators. If you're using the composite index or the RSI, look for those signs that say you should or shouldn't take that trade. But those are your trade ideas for the day. Again, to find them, it's on the portal here under signals. And again, I don't know if everybody's seen that, but you can resize these windows. Past live sessions are in there. The education library, which I'm gonna get put into detention from the Forex Lens guys because I really need to. How to read John's charts. This is a video where show you a setup. Oh my God, I'm wearing my poor Vikings. This will show you how I set up my charts. Okay, how I use all those angles and everything. Watch that one if you want to get an idea of what's going on. So, anyways. Hopefully we have a good start to the week on a Monday. Looks like we're going to be pretty blech, kind of dull so far. See if we get a lot of movement. See what happens when the equity markets open up here in the next 19 minutes. But yeah, let's have a great week like last week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Remember, trade smart, trade wisely, don't trade afraid, and don't trade too excited. And we'll talk with you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.